For today's top stories, let's go over to the CBN News Desk.
Gordon, the deadly storm system responsible for much of the severe weather over the last few days is headed east. Parts of 12 states are under winter storm warnings from eastern Kansas to New England. The first snowfalls of the season bringing an end to an unusually warm December in many places. Caitlin Burke has the story.
It hasn't felt much like winter along the East Coast until now. Cities across the Northeast are gearing up to face the first snowstorm of the season.
I was picking up an extra snowblower, went through an inventory and I realized I probably should have an extra one, couple shovels, some salt.
In New York State, the snowplows are ready.
First storm of the year, there's a lot of accidents. Hopefully they'll be very minor.
The weather out west gave a preview of what's to come. High winds, icy roads, and lots of canceled flights.
I've been stranded now in the airport for 50 hours.
In Texas, residents are still cleaning up from snow in some areas and tornadoes in others. Operation Blessing teams are working with churches and local emergency crews in both Rowlett and Garland, Texas. Two of the areas hit the hardest.
It's heartbreaking to see this community in this situation that occurred just one day after Christmas. But Operation Blessing is here to help these families begin to recover. Over the next few days, we're going to be meeting with the residents, the local emergency management, and the local pastors to find out what the greatest needs are and begin bringing resources in to meet those needs.
At least 11 people were killed in the tornadoes, and officials estimate close to 1,500 homes were destroyed. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
We'll be updating Operation Blessing's work in Texas at cbnnews.com. The Oregon bakery owners have paid a check for damages as ordered by a state official. They were told they had to pay $135,000 after they refused to bake a cake for a gay wedding. Aaron and Melissa Klein own the Sweet Cakes by Melissa Bakery. Aaron paid the amount plus interest Monday. The Kleins had refused to make the payment for nearly 6 months. The Portland Oregonian reports the state is looking for 9% interest and the right to seize other assets until the appeal is decided. The money will be held in escrow while the Kleins appeal the case. Scientists from around the world are debating the ethics of a new technique that changes a person at the most fundamental level. They came together a few months ago in Washington to discuss this brave new world. As Lori Johnson tells us, we're now entering the uncharted territory of changing a person's genetic code.
We hear it every day. It's genetic. People are born with beauty, intelligence, athletic prowess. Also, the potential for severe diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, muscular dystrophy.
But what if a person doesn't have to stick with their genes? What if their genetic code can be changed and passed down to future generations? Scientists say that exact technology now exists.
And it was the subject of a summit in Washington, D.C., drawing scientists from around the world.
It's really important to be clear about what are the positive potential outcomes and where is there risk of going down a pathway that we will at some point perhaps regret.
Similar to cut and paste computer software, the most recently developed method allows scientists to precisely target abnormal genes inside cells, replacing them with healthy ones. It can be used in reproductive cells, sperm, egg, and embryos, and those changes can be passed on to children. And in addition to curing diseases, they can also be used to create so-called designer babies.
Germline editing or changes that might enhance future generations. And in those areas, it's difficult to prevent those experiments from happening, but what you can do as a community is set clear guidelines about what would be an acceptable experiment and what would be an unacceptable experiment, and to not let those people that perform unacceptable biological experiments get away without some form of regulation or punishment.
People start talking about eye color, hair color. Sometimes people start talking about things like memory enhancement or muscle mass and things like that. And I think we really need to be careful about that because, quite frankly, some of that involves very, very complicated science in terms of the numbers of genes that you'd have to manipulate, et cetera. And at least for now, that's not the game, so to speak. That's not the target. The target really are therapeutic interventions. We're looking to try to make a difference in the lives of people who actually have genetic diseases.
The latest gene editing technology has the potential to be done on a wide scale because now it can be done in most modern laboratories at a low cost. The scientists are hoping that the world will agree on uniform legal and ethical guidelines on this new technology, which has the potential to reduce human suffering, but could also carry with it unintended and unforeseeable consequences. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Americans spent more money during this holiday season. Spending was up nearly 8% from a year ago, according to the MasterCard Spending Pulse report. It tracks retail sales from credit cards, cash, and checks from Black Friday to Christmas Eve. People especially spent more money over their computers and smartphones, with online shopping up a big 20%. But shopping at physical stores still accounts for the majority of spending during the holidays.